All right, guys. So what's going on with these crypto markets? I'm seeing a lot of people out there freaking out. I'm seeing a lot of people with all sorts of, different opinions. Some people saying the cycle's over. We pretty much hit a top. Now we're pretty much going to be going into a bear market. Some people talking about extended cycles that, hey, we might dump for the next couple months and then we'll go bullish, maybe going into next year, going into the summer. And then you have people saying, well, we're right on track for the 4-year cycles. This month we'll probably see new highs in Bitcoin like we already have, and then the altcoins are going to follow. There's multiple scenarios that can happen with crypto. As you guys know, I'm a big believer in the 4-year cycles. The 4-year cycles could easily be broken. We only have about 15, 16 years of those cycles. So it doesn't mean Bitcoin has to follow the 4-year cycles. But as of right now, there's no reason to believe that Bitcoin's not going to follow the 4-year cycles. So Bitcoin had a nice all-time high of 125,000, almost 126,000 a couple days ago. Right after that, we got rejected. Or we had a big pullback. Altcoins got hit relatively hard. Bitcoin dumped down to 120. This was yesterday, actually, 2 days ago or yesterday, whenever it was. Bitcoin is now making its way back up to $125,000. To me, that's extremely bullish. There were a lot of people yesterday talking about a fake out. Was 126 the high? Now we're dumping. Now we're going back down to 118, 115, and it's going to be a horrible year, and we're going back into a bear market. That was certainly a possibility. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, that's not something that I think about. I mean, maybe we got that 10, 20% chance that could happen. But with Bitcoin making its way back up to all-time highs right now, I think that is probably not going to happen. I think you have a lot of leverage in this market, probably more so than usual. You have a lot of big funds coming in and out. You had a lot of big ETF inflows. And, of course, with the Bitcoin inflows on the ETF, you also get outflows as well. As far as your altcoins, we have this government shutdown. So technically right now, we should be getting ETFs on a lot of these altcoins. Litecoin, Cardano, Solana, XRP possibly. I can't remember. A few other ones. And with this government shutdown, we're not getting it. And that is actually probably holding up some of these altcoins from going absolutely crazy. Now, I fully expect this government shutdown to be rectified by the end of this week. I don't see this government shutdown lasting past Friday. I could be wrong. Maybe it'll go another couple weeks. I just don't see that happening. And then, of course, the SEC is going to come back, and they're probably going to approve a lot of these ETFs. So as of right now, we have Bitcoin. It got rejected off 126, which isn't that unheard of. I mean, we had a pretty big run up. We got rejected, or we had a pullback, people taking profits. All coins kind of, got hit hard. XRP, Cardano, these coins dropped like 5 or 10%. And now we're coming back up. So me personally, I think Bitcoin's probably going to come back up to 126 and probably make another all-time high. Now, we could get rejected again at 126 or 125, almost 126. We could get rejected again at 125, 126, and just repeat this cycle where Bitcoin goes back down to 120, your altcoins get hit hard, then it comes back up. But what really needs to happen is, we really just need Bitcoin to make a nice, juicy all-time high. Not like an all-time high of like 126 where it's like pretty much where it was a couple months ago. We really need Bitcoin to get to like 130, 140, 150 would be great. And then we need people to be euphoric in Bitcoin. A lot of people make a lot of money in Bitcoin. Then they take their money out of Bitcoin and they start putting it into Ethereum. Then Ethereum will probably go up to $5,000. And then people are going to make a lot of money on Ethereum. And then is when these altcoins that we all love, of course, we all love these altcoins, that's probably when they're going to go parabolic and we're going to get crazy, crazy price action. Now, I see October, I guess we're early October 8th right now. I see October as being extremely bullish for Bitcoin. Between 130 and 150 for Bitcoin is where I see us. And I think Ethereum is going to make another all-time high. I think by the end of this month, you're going to see money really start trickling out of Bitcoin if that happens going into altcoins. Some people think alt season might not start till November if you line it up with previous cycles. That's fine as well. I mean, that's certainly on the table. I think November is going to be extremely bullish for altcoins. But I think October is going to be bullish as well. We just got to see that next high up in Bitcoin. As far as what's going on in the world, I mean, everything's pretty much lining up for a Bitcoin crazy cycle. I'm not seeing anything crazy. Stocks pretty much at all-time highs. AMD's doing well. I say a lot of these AI stocks are coming back. Gold hit an all-time high, or it's past all-time high of $4,000. So gold's at $4,000. I don't see gold going much past $4,000. I think you have to be a lunatic if you're buying gold right now. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I think gold is going to level out. Gold usually goes first, and then I think you're going to see a lot of that gold money go into Bitcoin and then flow into altcoins. Like I said, I think buying gold right now at $4,000 is kind of like buying Bitcoin at $67,000 in 2021 and $20,000 in 2017. I just don't think gold can go much further. I think it's pretty much at a top. I think we're right around there. It could be wrong. I mean, who knows? You know, I wish I had more gold. But that's pretty much the way I see it. So let's see here. As far as what's going on in the crypto community, everything is going on. Like, I'm always looking at stories like, okay, are there some bad crypto stories that are going to take us into a bear market? What's the sentiment in crypto? The sentiment is good, other than we don't have a lot of retail money in right now. Here's an article: Square offers Bitcoin payments for merchants as crypto adoption accelerates. If you go on CNBC, it's all positive stories for crypto. We're entering that euphoric stage, even though I know it doesn't feel like it. A lot of people right now are gearing up for an insane couple months. So what could happen with crypto? What are the negatives? Okay. Could 126 have been the top? I mean, let's just lay it out there. Could 126 have been the top? And Bitcoin's not going to make it past 126. It might get rejected right now at 125, 124. And we keep getting rejected, and then we pretty much just go into a bear market. That's possible. And honestly, if that did happen, you know, you can always go back and say, well, Bitcoin doubled its previous all-time high. Ethereum made another all-time high. Solana made another all-time high. XRP pretty much made another high, and a lot of other altcoins did as well. But a lot of altcoins did not make their all-time high. So this would be an unusual crypto bull run, to a point where if we were going to go bearish right now, and for the next 6 months, say everybody thinks we're going into a bear market because Bitcoin collapses under $100,000. I would say the 4-year cycles are no more. I would say anything is on the table. We could absolutely go bearish for another 3 or 4 years. That could happen. But we could also just go bearish for another 6 months, 12 months. Maybe it'll be like a short bear market. Nobody really knows. But I can tell you guys right now, if we go into a bear market right now, and the high for Cardano was only $1.20 last year, Theta only made it to $3. You know, Ethereum barely made it past its previous all-time high. I would say I'm no longer a big believer in these 4-year cycles. And I would just have to throw my hands up in the air and say, I really don't know how to trade these markets. I really don't know how to trade them. You pretty much just have to acknowledge that Bitcoin was the trade. We should have just all been in Bitcoin. And a lot of these altcoins are probably, they might not do what we thought they were going to do. Now, what's the other thing that can happen? The thing that I think is going to happen. I think we're going into alt season. I think the next couple months are going to be great. The only reason people right now are negative on crypto, it's people who only owned altcoins, and they're just not happy that their altcoin hasn't pumped yet. Now, I own a little bit of Bitcoin, but I have mostly altcoins. So obviously, if we didn't go into an alt season, I'd be pissed off because while I made money because I got XRP at 25 cents and most of my Cardano buys are at 30 or 40 cents, and I still have Cardano left over from 2 cents from like 4 or 5 years ago, all my gaming coins would be in the shitter that I held from previous cycle. They didn't make any money. And a lot of my riskier plays just didn't make any money. So yeah, I would have made a little bit of money, but I probably could have made the same amount of money buying NVIDIA or some sort of stock or MicroStrategy or something like that. So it would be heavily disappointing if that happened. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the next couple months are going to be when the big money, the millionaires are minted in these altcoins. I think October is going to be great for Bitcoin. November is going to be even better for altcoins. And I think come December, we're going to be topping out and we're probably going to go into a multi-year bear market. Now, that doesn't have to happen. We could go into a bear market that just affects altcoins. Maybe this bear market, because there's so many funds in Bitcoin, Bitcoin only drops to like $80 or $70,000 or something like that, and your altcoins get annihilated. But me personally, with all these big funds in Bitcoin, I think it's going to be an utter collapse. When I see everybody out there on CNBC talking about Bitcoin and how much money they're making, it just makes me really nervous. When I see Michael Saylor out there and all these other funds, I see people taking all their money out of these Ethereum funds, these ETFs. You're going to see record outflows of Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, coming out of these ETFs. And I think there's a really good chance that MicroStrategy gets margin called. So that's why, like I always say, the next couple months are when we have to make our money. It's still a good amount of time. I mean, we have October, November, December. I would say once we hit Christmas, you better be like ready to get out. If we're doing this little game right now, come Christmas, it's going to be really stressful, and we're going to have to make a decision to get out. I personally think by the end of this month, we're going to see a $2 Cardano. We're going to see a $4 XRP. Definitely in November. Definitely by mid-November. But going back to what I was saying, yesterday, everybody's talking about, was this a fake out? Are we going back into a bear market? We hit 126. Now we're at 120. And that has been pretty much crossed off the list because now we're back up at 124. So that pretty much makes me think that Bitcoin's going to basically keep hitting 126 and eventually it's going to blow past it. And then we're going to get our alt season. So like I said, guys, everything looking good. I know these markets are kind of weird. They're not, these altcoins need to do something, but unfortunately, we're probably going to have to see Bitcoin dominance. If Bitcoin's going to make another all-time high of 140, 150, we're probably going to have Bitcoin dominance at like 59, 60%. For Bitcoin to make that high. Then once Bitcoin makes that high, as people flow out of Bitcoin and go into Ethereum, you'll see Bitcoin dominance probably drop down to like 56, 57. Then when people get out of Ethereum, they're getting out of Ethereum and Bitcoin. We should see Bitcoin dominance drop to the low 50s and even go into maybe, the late 40s and possibly lower as we go into alt season. But unfortunately, right now, waiting for Bitcoin to make its new all-time high, whatever that is, 130, maybe we'll level out 140. Who freaking knows? Could be 150. We're probably going to have to see Bitcoin dominance remain high until that happens. So what we want to see is we want to see Bitcoin make its freaking high, get it over with, get it done in October, make it happen, hopefully this week or next week. Just do it, Bitcoin. Make your stupid high so we can see money flow into Ethereum and then throw into these altcoins. But you can't deny some of these altcoins are doing really well, like BNB. Who would have thought? I remember when BNB was $3. Man, I wish I had bought some. Now it's $1,300. So a lot of these altcoins are doing extremely well. It's only certain altcoins, and it's not the majority of altcoins. So we are in alt season, but it's kind of like a delayed alt season where only certain coins are doing well, and only certain narratives are doing well. And I think that's going to change relatively soon, where a lot of these altcoins, remember, this time last year, we had Cardano, Theta, all of our favorite coins, the gaming coins, all the coins that haven't done shit for the last year were doing extremely well last year. That's what we need to see happen as we go into alt season. All right, guys, let me see if I'm missing anything else. All right, that's pretty much it. Benjamin Cohen I want to play a little bit from Benjamin Cohen here. He was kind of talking about the same thing, just like Bitcoin kind of has to make its move first, and then we should see other coins follow. Let me just play a quick clip from this interview.
A pivot point for Bitcoin dominance. Sometimes the other direction, right? Like if dominance is going up into September, then September marks a turning point where it starts to go down. But just go through the chart, September 2021, you'll see there was a nice rally by dominance into October at the end of the cycle. You still saw Bitcoin dominance drop later on that year, but not until the November timeframe. So my best guess right now is that Bitcoin dominance is going to go up in the short term. right? Like it should go up for the next, I would say for at least the next 4 weeks. Dominance should go back to the upside as liquidity flows back to Bitcoin. That is my best guess.
Okay, so it's looking pretty good, I guess, then for what would you say, like November, December for money to start moving into alts. We could potentially get that altcoin season people have been waiting for. But what type of altcoin season, Because we are, like we both agreed, slowly coming towards the end. Like, really, how much upside potential is there going to be, even when Bitcoin dominance eventually comes down? Like, is Bitcoin, do you see Ethereum breaking out beyond 6K? Solana to $500, or are we just kind of asking too much at this point?
I think Ethereum will go to a new all-time high. So here's Ethereum. My view on Ethereum has basically been that it would sweep the all-time high. So if you throw my screen up, so basically I said, all right, after Ethereum goes to its lower regression band, right, which it kind of was elusive for the entire cycle, right, but after it went here, then the point was that it should then rally to all-time highs, kind of like we've seen in prior cycles, right? So after it goes, I've said home, it should then rally to all-time highs. And also, if you overlay the ETH valuation against Bitcoin.
Yeah, so I'm not going to put the same thing, but pretty much what Ben's saying, the same thing. Bitcoin dominance has to go up. Then money will probably flow into Ethereum, which we've seen happen in the past. And then money will go into these altcoins. So we know it has to happen. We pretty much know what's going to happen. It's just, we have a timing issue. It really has to happen in the next couple months. That's why everybody's kind of stressed out right now, is because people know that if you're following the 4-year cycles, this shit has to get done in the next couple months. So that's why every time Bitcoin dumps now, people just get really, really nervous, including myself. Like, look, I mean, if Bitcoin got rejected off 126 and we're back down at 115 right now, we have limited time to get back up, to an all-time high for Bitcoin, because these altcoins are not going to rally until Bitcoin makes a new all-time high. And Bitcoin needs to blow past 126, get up to 130, and then maybe level out, so these altcoins can all work their magic. So that's why everybody's kind of on edge right now. I'm feeling it too. I've been pretty laid back the last couple of years, but now I'm kind of on edge too, because we don't have a lot of time, and we can't see Bitcoin drop under $100,000 because there's just not enough time for it to come back by the end of the year. So if we're following the 4-year cycles, things have to pretty much start rocking and rolling, which they are. Bitcoin's lining up to be just fine. Ethereum's lining up to make another all-time high relatively shortly. And a lot of these altcoins have done extremely well. It's just a lot of these altcoins have not done well yet. And until that happens, we're really not officially in alt season. Overall, I'm very bullish. I'm just kind of chilling out. I told you guys a couple weeks ago I wasn't trading anymore on my trading account, which I'm glad I didn't, because I pretty much just cashed out of that. And I'm pretty much just waiting for Bitcoin to do its thing, and then our altcoins to make their move, and hopefully we're getting out by December and everything kind of goes smoothly. It's just, you never know what's going to happen. Are we going to get some weird war situation? Are we going to get something happening in the market? Is the government shutdown going to just last for weeks and weeks and weeks? All these things can really screw up these cycles. So we just need things to kind of go our way for the next month or two, so we can make our money and get out. All right, guys, like and subscribe. Talk to you later.